Hello.
That's better.
They can't hear us this thing.
We can't hear you, Deb and Matt.
Yeah.
We can't hear you guys.
Can they see us?
I don't know.
There we go. Okay.
Yes, we've got you.
Oh my goodness me. I have literally just done an intro 3 times. Good job, Matt. Good job.
This isn't going well tonight already. So I've started the live stream. I forgot to press the start live stream button.
Good job. Good job.
Good job. But
Good
anyway,
job.
we are live.
Can't
We
hear
are
you.
live now.
Hey, everyone.
Hear me. Hello, everyone.
Oh, there's
And
always these
look,
technical
let's
difficulties.
just show we've got some guests with us tonight.
Woo!
Let's
Hey,
bring
everyone.
them all up on screen. Hello. Welcome, guys.
Nice to have the
Hello.
crew together.
Hey.
Hello.
Thanks for having us again. I'm really excited for tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
All right. Well, let's quickly. We've got a lot to chat about tonight.
We do.
And
What should we do?
so let's jump into some quick hellos. Who have we got? We've got
Hey,
Joe is here. Peter, where are you, mate?
Yeah,
why aren't you
why
in
are you-
with Amy? Like, what's going on?
Who's babysitting, making sure Lyra's
Ah.
Rightio.
Good job.
Joe asks, is Ali going to be on? Yes, Ali is going to be on.
Right,
Ali's
on.
here.
Yeah.
Everyone.
We've
Oh,
got Linda is here
Hey,
as well.
Linda.
Hello, Linda. And Rhonda D.
Rhonda.
And Allison.
Hey.
She's got a few here tonight. Patrick's here. G'day, Patrick.
Nice to see you again.
And we've got the Down Under
Hey,
Cruisers.
Sean.
G'day, Sean. Noni is here as well.
I'm sure Rowan's probably right behind.
It could well be. And we've got our other friends
Hey,
here.
guys.
Hello. Always here. Great to see you again. Jason is here as well.
Hopefully it's now working.
Yes, the live stream ain't working. Well, hopefully it is now up and about. My apologies for not pressing the button sooner.
Oh my gosh, do you know how satisfying it is to know that Matt actually did something wrong?
I walked into the house today with like 20 minutes ago. So I'm doing all right.
Oh no, I'm still
got it all
I'm
going.
still clocking it up as 1. I gotta take wherever I can.
Looking
Take it,
for
Deb.
the 360 building and pest inspection guys are looking for more info on Crown Princess. We do have those videos coming. I'm working through edits.
So do we.
Oh, that's really
Coming.
cute.
And
slowly.
Amy's got, yes, you've got yours
That's
coming
right.
too. Your
Aw.
wife loves Deb.
Love you back.
Look,
Oh,
Rob.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, little love heart thing.
My kids always get up me going, "You're doing it wrong."
I
I do that one. The new ones. Oh, hang
Oh
on.
my-
Is it the new one, like the little like?
No, that's
They do like a weird finger thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I
anyway.
can't do it.
love you back.
Yes.
Oh, you're missing a bunch.
Oh, hang on. I am Mike. G'day, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
And we've got
And-
Anita.
Jason, you missed.
I haven't got to Jason yet.
Oh, it was up further.
Jason's here and says hello to Robin Alley as well. Katrina's here.
Hey, Tina.
Okay, let's go. Let's see any other names here. Brian's here as well. Wendy's here. Another Katrina. There's Rowan. There's Nate. And there is Love Cruising. All right. And Sharon.
All right.
All right. Let's
Hi to anyone
dive
who's
in.
going to join
Hello.
in from now.
All right. I'm going to mark that point there. Let's get into it. Guys, how are you all?
Doing great.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
We are doing great. Thank you.
So glad that you could join us. I just want to dive into something quickly. Amy, what's going on? You look like you're in a building site.
I'm in a construction site. So
Woo-hoo.
I have some stuff in the works right now. I am trying to get myself a designated studio that I can record without children.
Woohoo.
I am in the process of picking pinks.
They look the same from here.
No, you can
Oh,
see.
maybe
Taylor.
slightly.
Can
Yeah, the
you
one on the
guess
left
which?
is Taylor, I think.
Can you guess which one I like? Which one I'm going
The
with?
one on the left.
The last.
Well,
Well,
our left.
Her
You're right.
The
That
darker
one?
one.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one I've picked.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what's going on. So there's like, if I turn around here, like there's cupboards and there's painter's tape and all sorts of stuff. So
Very exciting.
Very cool.
I
Very
love
cool.
it.
All right.
We met Amy when we were getting off a ship, and Amy was getting on. You and your guys were getting on, and Amy said, "I'm going to do all this decorating and everything." And there she is doing it. And we'd be about a year and a half talking about it, and then arguing about colours and things.
It's been happening a lot
And there you are.
slower.
You're right in it.
It's been happening a lot slower than I've kind of bargained for, though. There's so many different moving parts in my life right now, in my personal life. So I'm just trying to juggle 15 things at once, you know, as you do as a mum anyway. But when you're trying to juggle a career, a YouTube channel, and mum and everything, it's my life's bleh. But anyway, I'm here.
100%.
Totally get it.
We all understand. I think all three groups of us understand that those challenges in particular. Yeah, we were lucky. We actually did this room
Couple of years ago.
probably a couple of years ago, and
Makes it
custom
easier.
made our desks, and literally we're out the front painting sawing them and everything like that. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun to actually do.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think
I just put shelves up.
yeah, mate, I always love getting you on the live stream because looking at all the ships and the different trinkets you've got from all the different trips you've been on.
I love it.
You know, having something like that set up is very cool.
I'll be having the same myself too. So
yeah, that's something that we've actually talked about for behind us here, is to potentially put up, because we've got so many ships and
at least somewhere in here on one of the walls we'll get them up.
Something. Anyway.
Yes. So cool, good stuff. And what about you guys, Rob and Ali? What have you guys been up to? Anything exciting?
Well, working mainly. You got to work to pay for the cruises, Matt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But
that'd be nice.
You're getting ready to go on a cruise soon too, aren't you?
Actually, yes, weekend after next, we're on Amy's favourite ship. We're on Carnival Splendor. So yeah, trip down to Sydney. It'd be our first time on Splendor. We've never been on Splendor before, so we're looking forward to seeing what all the hype's about, Amy.
Do you have room in your cabin for one more?
You know what? I don't know if you want to go there, but I think that is actually a fantastic segue to start talking about our.
Well, yeah.
Or the topic. It's actually really good because I guess one of the reasons we wanted to have this chat tonight is about the differing opinions that you can get when it comes to ships and cruise experiences, right? And obviously the Australian cruise market's going through a lot of change at the moment. The P&O brand sort of going away, the ships being sort of amalgamated into Carnival versus P&O, what's here all year round, what's not. Royal have just announced they're going to have two different cruise ships, two quantum ships back in Australia. So we wanted to kind of chat about this because we all, I guess, kind of when we present our cruise YouTube videos, our cruise tube videos, we all present slightly differently. We all have slightly different experiences. Amy, your experience and love for Splendor is obviously very different to my love and experience of Splendor, or distaste of Splendor. But Rob and Al, you guys are possibly going to get stuck in the middle of this argument after next week.
We've not been on it yet, so we can't comment. We're neutral.
No.
Bribes incoming.
We're Switzerland, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I think this is what we're trying to, and this is what this chat about tonight, the chat tonight is about, is that we all come from different backgrounds. You know, Amy's potentially cruising with her young family. Rob and Al are potentially cruising on their own. We're potentially cruising with our teenage son. So we all give so many different opinions, and also just personal opinions on what food you like, what service you like.
Well, I actually want to kind of say, like, maybe we should start by talking about what it is that we look for when we are cruising. Maybe that's a good thing to start by, so we lay the foundation for what we look for, because everybody's opinion is different on this.
100%.
Yeah, totally agree. I think, that's a really good point. So, Amy, did you want to kick that off? Like, what do you, when you're
Sure.
cruising, what are you
Mhm.
looking for?
So firstly, it depends on whether we're cruising with or without the kids.
Mhm.
Generally it is with the kids. So generally we are looking for a cruise line that goes well with cruising with kids. And then honestly, we're probably looking at the cost for us. Despite what people think, all of us, we pay full price for our cruises. We work hard to pay for our cruises. And, we're just normal income people. We don't eat out at all when we're on land, just to be able to afford to cruise as much as we do. And we're very lucky to be able to cruise as much as we do, but that will be lessening now, because now Melbourne hasn't got any cruise ships. So now we need to factor in $2,000 in flights before we even get on a ship.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at an expensive cruise line and then we've got to tack an extra $2,000 on top of that, then that's an issue for us. And so we do look at affordability, we look at the length, and what activities are included for
Mhm.
kids if they're coming with us.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Rob and Al?
Yeah, we're pretty similar. We've got different sort of styles of cruise. Depends what we're doing, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. So, if we're just looking for a long weekend away, that's very different for what we look at as if we're looking for a holiday, for example, a longer cruise and a holiday. So for the shorter cruise weekend away, we're looking for a price. Price is always an issue. We're always looking at the price to get the best deal. But for a weekend away, we generally look for what is going to be more fun for us, like the P&O theme cruises, the 80s, the 90s, the country. They were great because we can go away, we can have a theme cruise. We've got some coming up for the rest of the year, but come up January next year, they'll finish. And to be honest with you, we're not really sure what we're going to do then. The getaways are great for relaxing, but whether we want to do that when we're going on those weekend cruises as often as we are, I don't know. That's something that we need to actually think about.
For me, there are some non-negotiables in any holiday. So I would say, I would be happy on a campsite. I quite like camping. I will do camping, but so I can go from one spectrum to absolute luxury. I suppose everybody's, but I'm very comfortable with luxury, and I don't mind spending that extra bit to get that top end. But I'm quite happy with kind of a 3-star sort of hotel or a 3-star cruising. But the non-negotiables really for me are if things are just dirty and really run down, and then
The Grand Hotel,
early staff.
That one.
They're just kind of non-negotiable. So I guess if you liken that to something like a campsite, so you can go and things can be basic, but they'll still be clean and the staff will be lovely and things will be nice. And then so you can go for that, I guess, less amenities. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So on a ship, it doesn't have to have everything, as long as it's nice and clean and everything like that. And then it has decent food. And again, it doesn't have to be 5-star food, but it does have to be kind of edible and well presented. And I have to feel that it's clean and that it's been, prepared with a little bit of care. You can have the simplest of food, can't you? And if it's fresh, and it's been prepared beautifully, a nice salad can be delicious. But if it just looks like it's been redished up, several times, it looks a bit limp, and the staff don't look happy serving it to you, and it's all cold. I mean, it's just ruined food to me. So those are probably the non-negotiables, and that's where I'd be coming from, and getting the best value for money. That's definitely for me. I don't like wasting money. Don't mind spending it if I'm going to get, really nice. But not just spending money for something that I don't feel is good value.
The funny thing is with me, I don't care that much about the food. And I'm probably a rare one like that. Like, on Celebrity recently, that food was great. Like, it was a noticeable difference from every other cruise line I've tried, except for maybe Virgin. Virgin was up there too. But for me, the food can be kind of, and I'm okay. But that's because I go on there for the overall experience.
And because you're not cooking it.
And that's right. That's probably
Yeah.
what it is.
That's always my little thing. If it's not, like, I mean, if it's bad, it's bad. That's a whole
Yeah.
different thing.
Oh,
But
look, I can
if it's
recognize when
okay,
it's bad, but it doesn't ruin my holiday.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? Like, you know, we've heard other cruise tubers. I think Adrian's mentioned it before in his videos. Yeah, the budget the dollar figure that cruise lines are looking at when it comes to the catering per passenger per day and all those sort of things. You know, not that it's an excuse, but you know, the food is. I mean, generally speaking, it's edible. Like I've only once, you know, I've had some lukewarm food served occasionally. I've only ever once had a hot meal that was actually cold served to me. And you just address it at the time, right? Like if you've got an issue, but when we're looking at what we're choosing, I think Al, you said it, a couple of people in the comments have mentioned it as well. It's kind of if it's clean,
It's a big one for me.
yeah, the cleanliness is kind of the big thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you start looking at your budget, you start looking at, you know, how's it going to impact on leave from work? Like, is it across a weekend or a public holiday?
But it's also, I think, one of the biggest thing, or for me in particular, is looking at the value for money. So if we look at a hotel almost anywhere, you're looking at $200 to $300 a night as a minimum kind of thing for an accommodation.
And then it's like 500 up.
And then you've got all your activities, your food, your drinks. That's why I think all three of us probably, you know, find the value in cruising in particular for that reason. But to find the cruise for you,
yeah,
that's why I think the three of us and other people, of course, there's many more people who are doing videos on this, is each of our experiences. So we are all very different people. While we have similar interests, you know, we're looking at all these different things.
I think that's there's a good point there in you know, you've got to know what you're booking in for too. So at the time, you know, if you want to go on a cruise, on a cheap cruise, like we know when we go on what was P&O and now Carnival Cruise Lines, we know that there is a certain element that we're going to have to pay extra for. If we want a certain level of service, certain foods, we're going to have to pay for that.
Like
in addition, well, not even just specialty. Like you go into the main restaurant. Like if you want to add,
if you want eggs Benedict.
Yeah, well, if you want your eggs Benedict, you know, or if you want your, you want to add some meat to your arrabbiata spaghetti, for example, or something like that. That's just the way it is. But if I go on to Royal Caribbean, I know I'm not going to have to do that.
But if I go on, also willing to pay the extra money up front to get that.
That's exactly. And I guess that's kind of the thing, though, right? There are. Yeah, and then if I don't want to spend my time with lots of people, I might look to go, or with a lot less families, I'm going to go to Celebrity. Or if I want a really exclusive cruise, which I don't think I'm ever going to be able to afford, is going on like Azamara or Viking or something like that.
Definitely won't be affording that anytime soon.
But there's tiers in the marketplace, right? It's just like airlines. It's whether you fly with a Jetstar or a Qantas or a Singapore Airlines or a Qatar. And
I think that's where it gets a little bit tricky, Matt, with people when they're looking at cruises, because in the old days, in the bygone days, years ago, you would get a similar sort of experience with every cruise line. So even with P&O, when you went on P&O, when we first started cruising, dinner would be a 4-course meal. And unless you wanted some of the real specialty, like the lobster where you pay extra for, everything was included. You'd have a 4-course meal. You'd have cheese to finish. They'd bring you the dishes, and it was nicely presented. And it wasn't just the steak pie and the fish and chips and things like that. You would get steaks and you would get the seafood and that sort of thing. And you would get that experience pretty much on all the cruise lines, although some would be different quality, obviously, because you're paying extra, so you're going to get extra. And it's changed, I think. Now it's changed now well, you've got your cruise lines, your Royal Caribbean, where you get those included. You've got your budget cruise lines, which, well, I was going to say P&O, but you get Carnival, where their business model's slightly different in that they want to keep their costs down low, but then they're adding those, and I do question some of the add-ons. I do question the charging for a fruit plate, for example.
The fruit plate, I reckon, is ridiculous.
And although I'm okay with the salmon and the prawns on the pasta, charging for the chicken. Anyway, but you've got this disparity in this experience, and I think it leads some people to confusion in that they don't know what they're going to get, and they might want the chicken with they might want the fruit plates and everything else, and they don't necessarily know that that's going to be an extra when they get on board, and that's where I think it becomes a little bit confusing at the moment. Because you've got these differences between the cruise lines, and people don't necessarily know whether it's going to be all that included, not all inclusive, but all that included, or whether they're going to have to put their hand in the pocket to have a similar sort of experience on those more budget cruise lines.
I hope people don't think it's going to sound like I'm getting on my soapbox here, and I'm as guilty as anybody. However, when you see the waste of food, I would hate to have to be the person who has to count the pennies on when you're saying about the food allocation, the $1 per person, obviously that's factored into your price. But to factor that in and then see the quantity and the choice of food that we now get on some of these cruises, and then the sheer waste of the sizes of the meals and what people can't eat. They go into we all do it. We go into like the pantry or whatever, the kind of the buffet style. And if you think what you actually had for your lunch today, I don't know about you, I had a tin of soup. I had a tin of soup today.
We compared lunch today, actually.
And, but what I'm saying is you don't want to go like that when you're going on a cruise. You want something lovely, but you don't need that quantity, and you do, don't you? You overdo it. You put more on your plate. You go back. You might have like 4 courses for a lunchtime, and that would be fine if you were only having small amounts, but you don't. So you multiply that out by kind of 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 people on a ship.
Yeah.
For every meal, it's just astronomical, and I don't know how they can stop that. I don't know as a society whether that's just the way we've become now, where we expect this absolute endless feast. I mean, there's more food on some of those, there's more choice than you would get in any food court. The biggest food court that you could get in any city, you have every continent that you could think of that's catered for,
and that's
I think, and everything, and that's just for lunch. So yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of going a little bit off topic, but I'm just kind of trying to get real about why prices can be, and they have to have these add-ons. And for some,
but I think that actually,
I think that's more about. Sorry, I think that's a lot of that might be about staff time preparing it rather than the actual food, because each element is prepared. It's not out of a tin. It's fresh fruit. That's why none of us does it at home every night. I'd love to have a fruit platter every night. Who can be bothered? Because it takes all that time, doesn't it, to prepare it? And so some items I can understand. That might be why. But anyway.
I don't get the fruit platter. We'll disagree on that.
It is a bit.
And I actually think that's actually a fantastic segue, Al, into when we talk about what do you trust with people and their opinions, because we do also see from many people, whether it's us or other people, saying, oh, the meals are only half-size portions, there wasn't enough food, I was only served a little amount. And I think this is all about what we're here chatting about.
Well, what I think, and Rob, you and I have spoken about this before, and we look, everyone watching tonight, and there is so many people here in the live chat, and we'll get to some of the comments and questions again in a little bit. I'm trying to keep track where I can, but we do this because we love you. We love cruising firstly, and we love sharing our experiences.
Yeah.
But we love being able to help people, and all of us here, we really want to help you make the most of your experience. And the thing is, the videos, Deb and I might jump on a ship and we might do a video, and it might not land completely, or our experience at that point in time might not be perfect for whatever reason. But Amy and the Crazed Fam could be on there and have a great time, or Rob and Ali could have a great time. And it just, this is where what I think a really important part of our messaging to you is, don't rely wholly and solely on us, as individual channels or groups, or any one influencer, or any one bad Google review that you see when it comes to cruising or travel. Like, take a group approach to how you research your cruising, because I've spoken about it many times. Every cruise has a different personality, and that personality is impacted by the ship, the cruise line, the itinerary, and and the staff, but then the passengers, right? And they're all going to, there's all different attractors to different itineraries, all those sorts of things. So every time it's going to be completely different, completely unique. So Amy, you're nodding there. Did you want to add to that?
On that, like, you also got to look at a 3-day. The demographic on a 3-day cruise is completely different to if you're doing like a 10-day cruise as well.
100%.
The short cruises tend to be party cruises, and if that's what you want, that's fine. Go for it, but just expect that that's what you're going on for. But the longer cruises tend to be a lot more relaxed, and a lot more relaxed kind of energy as well. So you've got to factor in a lot of things. And I think the thing is with us us content creators, some would call us influencers, although I'd prefer not to use that term. But we do hold a certain level of responsibility in what we do. And for me, it's to keep it very fair and unbiased. I will express my opinions, but at the same time, I want people to form their own opinions and not just judge it purely on mine, because I know
100%.
I'm a different type of cruiser. I get up, I dance, I'm crazy. I don't know if you guys know that about me.
Yes, I know.
No.
I've experienced it now.
You've seen it firsthand. So look, there's different cruises for everyone, and I want to try to bring as much facts and information as I can, and also express my opinion. But I don't want anyone to hold my reviews to whether they should or shouldn't necessarily. I mean, take the facts. What does this cruise ship have? What's the demographic? What's the price range? Use that to pick whether you think that cruise line will suit you. Watch our vlogs. You'll get a bit of an idea of what's going on. But also remember that I'm going to be a nutcase on the dance floor, but then there's someone relaxing out in their balcony or in the, it's not necessarily what I'm doing. There's other stuff going on in the ship.
Yeah.
But I just think we have to be careful as content creators in the way that we present and the information that we're giving, and being careful to give information, if we're comparing ships, it needs to be factual, and it needs to be on the same level. You can't compare Azamara to Carnival. Like, you're paying 4 or 5 times the price. It's going to be a different standard. So I think that's where we just need to be really careful as content creators on how we approach things. So anyway.
Yeah, look, I totally agree. And the thing is, even just recently, we did the Easter 3-night comedy cruise with Rob and Al on board on Encounter, and that was actually the most. Even though there's so many more activity, or I think there's a lot more activities happening on the ships now under the Carnival brand. Like, it certainly feels busier when you read the fun times. I actually found myself just going and chilling and disconnecting. We all did, really, out in the Oasis, and just had a great relaxing trip. It wasn't a themed cruise. There was nothing. It was just pure relaxation. So again, you just got to think about what you're looking for at the time. So really good. Robin, Al, did you have any more to say?
Actually, I just thought about something Amy said there about demographic, and I've seen quite a few a few things recently. There's been some negativity towards Carnival, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to Princess because I can get it for a similar sort of price." But
Completely different.
I was going to say you need to factor everything into account. The things that we talked about earlier, because demographics make a big difference. A Carnival experience will be a very different experience to a Princess experience, as Amy's just, well, you guys have been one as well, and we've been on Princess cruises before, and it's a very different experience. And some things may be better. You might say, oh, the food's better on Princess, or this and that's better. But if you're not getting that overall experience, because at 9 o'clock at night there's nothing to do and there's no disco on the ship, or disco, show me age, no nightclub, no nightclub on the ship, or there's nothing really to do because everybody's gone off to bed or they're listening to the piano or something. It's a different experience, and those things you need to factor in as well, I think.
And although Princess is technically a step above Carnival and it is more expensive, the service was great, the food was great, can't fault it, but I missed Carnival while I was on there because I like the activities, I like the fun, I like it a little bit more relaxed, but it was a different demographic to who I am and what we want out of our cruise. It was an older demographic, and that's fine.
But they loved you.
I don't know. Some of them might have loved me, but some of them might have gone, oh my God, who is this nutcase on our ship? Because they were doing 30-day or 27-day.
Oh, yeah. Depending on who you spoke to.
Before we got on, and then I walked on and it was like, what has just happened?
Who is that?
Well, Joe actually says here, Amy is a kid in an adult's body, 100%. And I think that's why everyone on Princess liked her. They just wanted to go up and squeeze her cheeks and go, "Oh, you're so cute," and go dance.
Yeah, maybe not. All right,
I think I was also their entertainment. I think, you know, when we were at Schooner's Bar, and I was the one and only who got up, and I was dancing, and they were all sitting there clapping like this, and I'm just like, oh yeah, whatever.
Did they ban you back, Amy, or did they ban you?
All right, I think that we've got a lot of comments. Let's just jump into a couple
quickly.
Comments. Sorry, guys, I know there's a lot here, so we'll just jump into a few.
Let me just see. We had Amy saying hello. We have a couple of other content creators in here tonight. We've got the Bag Drop. G'day.
Hi, Jill and Mike.
Jill and Mike are here, and I did see, and thank you for the super sticker just before. We've also, where did I see it?
I saw Horton's name there as well pop up.
Yeah,
I'm just scrolling to try and find. I've lost Horton.
I just saw one from Peter saying.
There we go. Horton's here.
Hey, Horton.
So we've got Horton in as well. So
Horton had the privilege of cruising with me too.
Yeah. And I thought I may have seen Jed or not. I'm not sure.
Maybe. He's on a Virgin cruise right now because I've just had him replace a mug for me.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just going to say, like Horton's comment here, though, I believe my Westfed experience occurred on one of the last P&O sailings, even though basic options were, very disappointing. I prefer to save a bit longer for a truly pleasant experience. Yeah, look, I think there were some things towards the end with stock management. Yeah, I think with the P&O sailings, like
no alcohol.
Alcohol was one of them. But again, like we did one of those last sailings. It was also interrupted by the cyclone. We then did the first Carnival sailing, and then we're back on 3 weeks later for the on Encounter again, and like. For us, like there was definitely an upward tick in the trajectory of service and quality and food and everything. So
that's good. It's just going to take time for the staff to learn the new processes and to settle into the new procedures. Like,
look, you just got to give them difference.
Give them a
even
minute
from the last. Sorry to interrupt you. I mean, that's rude of me.
Yeah, it is.
No, well, they're human. No, it's fine. They're human at the end of the day, and they've got to learn, and that's only going to come with time. And that's where I think we need to just chill out, give them a minute, and let them get their feet firmly established on the ground.
But a big difference from our maiden voyage to the one 3 weeks later. Such an improvement, even in that 3 weeks.
And that's great
Rob?
to hear.
I was just going to say, this has come up before when we've had a chat before, and I wouldn't disagree with you, Amy. And I'll say the same as I said last time, though. It's all right for us. We're privileged. We're in a great position where we can go cruising regularly. But for somebody who's not in that position, then the experience, because somebody's still learning or they're not up to speed, is probably not as acceptable to them as it is to us who can go, well, okay, we'll be back in a few weeks, or we'll be back in a couple of months, and we'll see how it is then. And not everybody's in that same position. I think we need to keep that in mind as well, is that for some people, the holiday, it is a holiday. It might just be one every year, or one in 2 or 3 years, or even one of a lifetime, who knows. But people have different expectations, and probably rightly so have a right to deserve a different experience as well, to some degree.
I think we also need to keep in mind that these are first-time cruisers. They've saved up a lot of money. They're really looking forward to it. And if we're sitting there just putting out all this bad stuff, we're setting an expectation, and we don't want to ruin people's cruises by giving them a bit of an expectation that things will be bad. We want them to go in with an open mind. We want them to have fun. We want them to learn and develop their own opinions themselves as well. So that's where, again, I was talking about, we have a level of responsibility, and that we need to factor in that some people really, really struggle to pay for even a 3-day cruise. They are super excited for it, and I don't want to dampen that for them. I want to help them get excited.
And this was in recent times, particularly with the changes. And, we know that social media can be a bit of an echo chamber at times. Things can get magnified in there. And, we're seeing people that, including ourselves, that haven't necessarily, say, with the Carnival changeover of the P&O ships, just as an easy, point to pick at the moment. There have been moments, we've had moments that weren't up to scratch. They weren't what they were. But you see people posting about it, and then down in the comments you see someone, oh my gosh, I just booked on this for my first cruise in 3 weeks time, and you see the anxiety levels rising, and they're like, oh, should I cancel? So again, I guess some of my request, my messages to our cruise loving community, if you're in some of these Facebook groups, like, try and keep the conversation calm.
Keep it real. Yeah.
A bit real. Like, keep it in context.
Yeah.
On that point,
context.
Matt. Yeah. On that point, Matt, and this is what I've seen on a lot of groups, is that like tends to attract like. So if you get a few people that have been negative, you get people that, and I'm going to use this expression, but please don't take it side, that people get on the bandwagon, and they then pour out their negative experiences about the same thing. So what you end up with is a whole string of people saying this is bad. And I have seen recently, in fact, not just recently, I've seen it before as well, people actually saying, because of these comments, I am going to cancel my cruise. Now,
so sad.
That may be the case, but they're not even going to get a chance to experience that for themselves.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you do encounter that, and this is what I would say, if you do encounter that, then hop off. Don't go feeding and building up the anxiety. Hop off, have another look at a cruise, another group, another channel, or whatever it might be, and try and get that balance and temper and work it out for yourself. But yeah, I think it's a bit unfair of anybody to try and ruin an experience, or whether they're trying to, or whether it's intentional or not, to ruin an experience of somebody who's really looking forward. Holidays are all about excitement. It's all about the build-up. It's all about when to go. And if the week's coming up, you're going deflated, thinking, I'm going to have a miserable time. Everybody says this is rubbish. I don't know why I've spent my money. You're going to have a bad time.
I think we're all pretty. We're pretty solution focused people. So if we come across something that isn't very good, we kind of either find a way around it, and that's what we try to share. So we try to share all those tips and things. So we say to people, this might not be good value for money, but if you go here, you can get something, or you can do it this way. Take your cheese from the buffet, and do your own little charcuterie board with wine at the back of the ship. Just trying to balance things out so that like that, if we come across something that is a little bit not up to standard, or that we're not happy with, we always try to find the workaround, and then share that with people to say,
100%.
As you say, Matt said about keeping things in context. So, If your dessert is absolutely horrible one night, really, if you
Order
know,
another.
is that going to ruin your whole and then go somewhere else and go and pay for dessert somewhere and just put your happy face on. It might have cost you $5, but hey, don't let it ruin the whole day. I think that's what we try to get across in our all of us. I think in our videos is that kind of approach. So, we do. It's not our job to tell people about the negative things, but I think we can't overhype. I think that's the other thing is it's not to overhype things so that people go and go, oh my God, I thought this was going to be, a non-stop party, and it really isn't. So you have to be a little bit measured in
finding a balance.
A little bit measured.
I'm having a bit of a chuckle to myself. I'm having a bit of a chuckle to myself. I've just seen a comment from Shallow Rose. I'll not say what it was. I remember you from Danny Black's broadcast, Shallow. Hi, good to see you back again. I've just seen a comment from Shallow Rose and it made me laugh. There we go. That's the one.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
That's fair.
Look,
that's fair.
And I think it's probably a good point. I know Deb wants to jump in and say something. Like, we will be honest. If it truly, like, if we're telling you, don't book this, there is something wrong with this route. There is mold. There is hair. It is bed bug. Like, seriously,
I'll show you a picture of the shower, and that's the facts.
That's it, right? But if we get on a cruise ship and we have a bad dessert, or
I had that on the Carnival melting chocolate lava cake. I had one night that I was literally drooling. The next night was horrible. Like,
and that's what, like, generally
what it is.
Our 3 channels, we're always going to be trying to keep that context, right? But we'll be honest with you if it's bad. But when you're looking at things online, guys, on the various Facebook groups and things like that, really try and keep some context and thought around what are you actually being told.
All right, I just literally, my comment is very, very quick before we want to jump into a bunch of things. I just wanted to reference, so we have a video regarding Royal Caribbean, is the key worth it? It's actually one of our highest trending videos. And literally, hello. Sorry, I'm going to get distracted by a puppy. We give a factual review on, is the key worth it? This is what the benefits are. Is it worth it for you? So, and we get, it is one of our highest running videos because it's literally not an opinion. It's factual. You decide for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that's the kind of thing you need to watch for, not the necessarily we've got an opinion, but factual stuff.
We will give our opinion sometimes, like, but that's important because you need to know whether it was right for us or not as well. I mean, you might have similar tastes or interests. You might find that you do or not. But
I have heard really bad reviews about the exact same cruise that I had an absolute ball on. So it's all a matter of opinion. So that's 100%. All it is. It's an opinion, and you got to take everyone's opinion with a grain of salt. That's their opinion. That's their thoughts or take on that cruise or that situation. But yours might be completely different. So it's just going in with an open mind.
We lost Al.
Just appeared. Oh. That was magic trick.
She won't stop barking. Sorry. She could see away.
Let's jump into a few comments.
Yeah, let's just jump in. I'm just seeing here, like, from watching the videos, she's ready to consider. Linda's ready to consider a Royal Caribbean cruise.
Awesome.
Bearing in mind, Linda, that everything in US dollars at the moment, it can be quite expensive. It can add up
100%
with all the costs that you're on board. But yes, I would agree. We love Royal Caribbean again. Looking for it for 26, 27. In fact, we're on this year as well for New Year. So Royal Caribbean, great cruise line.
Oh, and Katrina talks about she had a pretty poor experience at some point with, Pacific Encounter with mold in her bedroom. So that's
a fingernail in the curry. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's bad.
That needs to be reported.
Those are bad. They are 100%. And hopefully, Katrina, you managed to get, I would hope by raising, with your cabin steward and with your, with the staff, you would hopefully be able to get, get that sorted and get some resolution to those issues. And that's probably another good segue is the, just quickly into the fact that, it's important that you do fill in those cruise surveys. Give your feedback to guest services, speak to your cabin steward. If you see the cruise director around, or and you've got a problem, like make sure you're addressing it at the time, because it makes it very difficult to address things afterwards. But the cruise survey is actually a really good way for the cruise line as a company, because look, they are a business, they are in it to make money. We shouldn't be trying to deny that.
No.
Yes, they have to. We pay them to provide us with the service, but they need to quantify the data and the issues, and the best way to do that is through those cruise surveys.
But also through, if you've seen our cabin review videos, when we always talk about any problems that we found in the cabin, we then report those to the cabin steward, because if a USB port is not working, they are not going in there after every cruise and trialing your USB ports. So let people know. Like that's
Deb, on a recent cruise, we complain. We didn't say it was a complaint. We said we're going to give you our feedback, and it was actually for after we'd been in the restaurant, and we said we went to the kind of the manager, the restaurant manager, and said we just want to give you our feedback. So it's not a complaint, and we're happy with everything with our server. We're not complaining about them, but this is our feedback. And he said, "Oh, okay. And what's your room number?" So we gave the room number, and then we walked away and went, "Oh, we might get something nice here in our room." And then Robert went, "Oh, we might get something really horrible in our room." Anyway, turned out we got absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. Neither nice or horrible or anything. So yeah, it just came to a big fat nothing. But at least
they just marked who complained.
I mean, you don't do it to get something out of it. You do it so that it's an awareness, so that something can be done about it. And it may have been one. It was on that last cruise that we were on. It was in Angelo's actually. I was really looking forward. It was a surf and turf night, so a piece of steak and some prawns, and it was but it was cold. It was just cold.
Now normally, if that never happened, we just send it back. We just go send it back. But we wanted to get off to, I think it was either one of the comedy shows or something, and it was just going to ruin the whole schedule for the night. We weren't that hungry, and we knew we could always get something later on, so we just went, we'll just cut our losses and go. So we didn't give them a chance to give us a better meal, which is why we didn't call it a complaint, because we always feel that unless you actually give somebody a chance to put something right, you shouldn't make it a full-blown complaint. You give people a chance first. So yeah, that was.
Well, a lot of it's in how you present it. Now, if you go screaming and shouting with your arms waving all over the place, chances are you may not get taken too seriously.
Which we see a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah. And look, I think this is probably Bag Drop will put this comment here that they love the honesty of our channels, but also this last bit here that there is no agenda. Like, we're not being engaged. I mean, you guys were asked to participate last year in the Carnival video series, but we're none of us are getting free cruises, or there's this big myth out there, right, that we get free cruises
every time we go on a cruise.
I always think
free captain's dinners and all these sorts of.
We get nothing.
We get nothing. All of us, nothing.
So, I think, and that I like that independence.
100%. We do too, because we're not restricted in what we can say either. Like, we have our opinions.
Even that Carnival campaign, they didn't tell us what to say at all. None of it was scripted. They wanted us to be open and honest. We had absolutely no direction. They just sat down with us and asked us questions, and we answered honestly to what we felt. I mean, a lot of it is that also that they had seen our content, and I was barely a channel at that stage when they first started. I think I had like 200 subscribers. So I was like, why do they want me? Um, but because I had the content of me and the kids all having fun on the ship, that's what they really wanted to use. So it's not that I was like some big massive channel that they thought that they could profit off. It was definitely not that, I can promise you that. It was just that they had footage that they liked of me and the kids having fun, and they wanted to incorporate that and get our opinions on camera. That's all that was.
100%.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think you guys obviously that was a great experience. Night, Mike.
Hope you feel better soon.
I think again, we're not trying to be professional, reporters, I guess, or anything like this. We're literally doing this because this is something we're passionate about. We've all fell into it for different reasons. Rob and Al, you guys have spoken before about how you kind of kicked the channel off earlier pre-cruise with showing your family back in the UK what was going on during the pandemic back here. Amy, it's for you, you've said about recording your family memories and those sorts of things. And Deb and I kind of fell into it in a similar way. We would do videos for our friends and family and just send it to them showing different cruise and travel tips and that. So,
but I literally had a comment. I know Linda's on here at the moment, but she sent me a message saying that she was awestruck by meeting us, and I turned around and said, "We are such normal people," and the fact, and you guys would see it as well, is that people come up and like, "I'm so sorry to bother you," but I wanted to say hi. I'm like, guys, we are like you. Like, there is no difference to us. We are here to talk to you.
We want people to come say hi if they
100%.
recognize.
Yeah. Always got somebody to talk to on a cruise. Actually, you put it a few conversations ago, Amy. You put it. I think when you said that you hate the word influencers, we're the same. We're content creators,
same.
and that's what we do. We go away. We film what we do when we go away, and we create content. There is no intention to try and persuade anybody in any particular direction. And I think that's why we are so much the same, and why we guys get on so much. We all have the same outlook, and we all start our channels with the same intentions, and that is not to try and influence anybody to go one way or another. It's just to go away, have fun, record it, and share our experiences with everybody else.
That's right.
The other thing, though, quite selfishly as a couple, when you see a lot of these older couples, because we're obviously a tad older than you guys, you see people, and they've been together obviously for years, and they've got nothing to say whatsoever, even though they've had a whole day on a cruise, and they just sit and they don't. For us, doing the channel and doing the filming in the day, it's like we have a hobby together. So even though we're on holiday, it gives us a point of interest at home. But
that's exactly why we did it.
And we do more because we want to go and film it. So we do things like, let's go and throw hoops, basketball hoops or something, which, we just wouldn't do that normally. And have a ball, have a scream, doing things that we would never normally do, only to make a little bit more content. And then have loads to talk about, and the odd thing, the odd little niggle with each other.
And if we do run out,
we have those.
Plenty of other people on the ship to talk to.
I have the opposite problem where I have trouble filming because I'm chasing children around constantly.
They'll grow. It's all right.
Aaliyah is liking being on camera these days, it seems.
She's getting around to it. I told you guys the story, and I'm leaving that one for when the vlog comes out. But she's getting a bit of personality, and I've actually caught her vlogging getting home from school and playing with her toys and stuff. And I'm like, that's so cute.
That's Christmas present sorted then.
Yeah.
And then filming my bottom too. If you haven't seen that on my Facebook or Instagram, a very close up.
Oh, guys. All right. Can we just jump into a few things before we try and wrap up?
We'll try and wrap up shortly.
There's some beautiful comments on here. We do appreciate every one of you.
Horton, we're going to get you onto one of these live chats at some point, mate. We'll get you on board and have a conversation with you as well. And Julie and the backdrop team will get you guys on board. We want to do more of this. We want to let us know in the comments. Like, do you want to see more of this? More of people like Rob and Al and ourselves and Amy getting together, having these chats on these, Wednesday night live streams? Because, who else? Like, tag
There's
the people.
There's a bunch of other people in here that I've jumped in tonight. Backdrop, down under Cruise, there's Horton. Like, there's quite a lot of us, and I think the three groups of us are really keen on making a community out of cruising in Australia.
Yeah, definitely, because we do love it. And look, there is.
Sorry.
I said it happens so much in the UK. A lot of those UK content creators, they go away together. They share in the same way that we do, but they've been doing that for a lot longer. But it happens a lot with the guys. We know a few guys over in the UK, and we speak to them occasionally. And that's how they've built their community. I'd love to see that over here. I'd love to see us get.
I think that's what all of us are trying to build.
Yeah, definitely is. And we'll definitely do more of that, because I think there is a clear interest. I was going to segue to something quickly, and I've forgotten what it was.
Old timers.
Yeah, getting old timers.
Well, I'll just add that together, I do want to drive the cruise industry in Australia, because it is struggling at the moment, and it's the the high operating costs. We're struggling to keep ships here right now. So I think the more that we can work together and remind people of all the positives. Yes, there's negatives, but all of the positives, there are so many. So if we can work together to drive that, then hopefully we can help to drive the cruise industry as a whole to attract more ships and make sure we don't lose any more, because we're bleeding ships right now.
100%.
Well, Amy, that is a great segue into talking about something positive. Let's bring this up. Have you guys seen this? So Adrian's
I've heard of it.
Adrian's covered this today. So definitely, everyone, if you have not been to Adrian, the Cruise and Travel Guys videos channel today, head over there after this live stream and go and check out the video. He does a really good summary of this article from Cruise Weekly, where it talks about the possibility of more Norwegian ships coming to Australia over the next few years. And he mentions here, I'd love to get a new ship down to that region, a newer ship than what we've had down there before. Down there. So that time is getting close, but our desire is definitely to get a newer ship down there. And when he says down there, he is, of course, referring to Australia. So that's pretty bloody exciting. What do you guys reckon?
Well, we also talked, Rob and Matt and myself at least, we talked about we would love to see MSC here as well. I think that would go so well in Australia. I think that would nail the Australia market. So I'd love to see MSC here as well. So yeah, I want to drive the industry, and it's, for all of us. It's not just for me. There's no real agenda other than I want ships here, and I want ships here down in Melbourne, so I don't have to fly all the way up to you guys to cruise.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and look, I think that's what Australians. The Cruise Passenger did a story last week, and I'm going to just pick up on this Shiloh's point here. Cruise Passenger did an article last week when Royal announced their new itineraries for the 26-27 season, getting a second Quantum class ship back. We're getting Quantum of the Seas. Yeah, they sort of said this is great news for the industry, great news for Australian cruising, but it's the same itineraries and people aren't happy and blah. And look, don't get me wrong, the itineraries are getting a little bit old, but what are we going to actually do? Are we going to pick up and move like countries? And like at the end of the day, you can only go to so many locations as well. Yes, there needs to be, and I 100% agree with what Adrian has been advocating for in terms of more cruise infrastructure in Australia. Deb and I commented on this, and I think I even mentioned it to Adrian a couple of weeks ago when we were on Quantum heading down to Sydney, like having another port midway up the coast between Sydney and Brisbane, so that you could get that additional stop point there, and just things like that for regional economies would be great. But there isn't a lot we can do. But we do have to provide our feedback. But if we start, what my fear is, and Amy, you've touched on it, if we keep being so loudly negative in Australia about cruising, we're not going to make MSC feel welcome. We're not going to make NCL feel welcome. And, we're potentially going to miss out. So, there is a bit of a balance too, right? And as you said, we want to be driving the demand and showing there is demand for some of these great new Prima and Prima Plus class ships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a big enough rant?
Yeah. Got it.
No, absolutely agree. So, we're still going to talk about the pros and the cons. And I've done a lot of pros and cons videos, but they're my pros and cons. So you need to work out whether that's right for you. So there's a difference between giving constructive criticism or giving your opinion, whether you like something or not, or whether you're just slamming it. And there's a big difference between the two, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's just one person's opinion, if you ask me. There's certain facts that are there, but generally it's opinions that's been pushed out there.
That's it. Now, it's 8 o'clock, so before we close out, Rob and Al, have you got anything else you would like to add?
No, I really enjoy these getting together. I've seen a few comments that, and I think, let's try and do it some more often.
Yeah, no, it's been really, really good fun. Thank you. It's been nice to see you all again as well.
I know, always good. Always good.
Sorry, I have to say this every time. Brisbane can handle the larger ships.
All right. So I'm just going to say, if everyone has done with their comments, Matt and I are actually heading off to Bali on Friday.
Yes.
So next Wednesday, we actually have a wedding. So we won't be doing a live next Wednesday night.
Nope.
Oh, go on. Let us all watch.
Hey, Rob,
Depends how many drinks I have.
do one.
What's that?
Yeah.
Let's do one.
Let's do one without
Go for it.
it.
So we won't be coming live next Wednesday night, but we'll discuss about what.
No, it's 2. It's 2 weeks. I said this last week. I'm off for 2 weeks.
Oh, right, 2 weeks.
Because I'm staying on. Deb's coming home. I'm staying.
He's leaving me. I'm leaving him and he's staying on. So anyway, work commitments.
Is it a beach wedding? Is it a?
It's actually up in Ubud.
It's not on the beach.
It's up in Ubud. So we'll be heading up there. But
we're best man and best woman. So it's going to be quite special. To be there for that. So we're heading off on Friday for that one. We are going to be doing a whole different lot of filming.
Yeah, got plenty of locations we're going to check out, plenty of hotels and villas and different accommodation styles that we're going to cram into that as well while we're over there. So very exciting to do that. If you want to keep track of it as it's happening, make sure you're on our Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, hey, Laura.
But
I want to say thank you guys for joining and for the conversation. There's so many comments in here that we will try and address.
Yeah, we'll try and get in and address them. We'll also, anything we've missed tonight, we'll try and get listed out ready for the next live stream as well. So,
but appreciate every one of you for joining tonight, and Rob and Al and Amy and Laura. Hi, darling.
Sorry we didn't get to everyone's comments too, by the way.
Alira. So sorry, Alira.
Noni Rose has said maybe Deb could visit Rob and Ali and do a live stream together when Matt's still away.
Ooh.
Clearly, she thinks we need a bloke to press the buttons, Noni.
We do, Ali. We do. I don't know how to run this. I have no idea. I'm out. Seriously, if any of you caught the live stream that we did a couple of weeks ago on board the ship, no, it was bad. I'm like, Matt, this won't work. I don't know how to do this. So No.
Anybody still know the conversations that I have with Amy sometimes about tech stuff and say, Amy, how do you do this? I am not the person to be pressing the buttons.
Well, the funny thing is you've got no idea about the social media stuff, whereas I've got no idea about all the tech stuff. Like you two talk a whole nother language to me there.
Yeah, look, you know, it is a good balance, isn't it, that we can sort of bounce around all the different things. But guys, on that note, we will let's sign off. Let's let all these wonderful people that have been watching tonight go off and spend time with their families as well. Thank you for hanging out with us. We've absolutely enjoyed it. We will get you guys back on with us again for another live stream at some point in the future, and some other guests as well.
Absolutely.
Got some exciting things planned. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having us.
Deb and Matt, for
Bye.
hosting this. Thank you for being the hosts. Anna.
No worries. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.